Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And in today's video, we are going to be comparing the two remaining undefeated teams in the NFL. These are two teams that have both obviously been looking really good, dominating in a lot of phases of the game. We've got the San Francisco 49ers of the NFC and the New England Patriots of the AFC. Two teams looking really good, winning games in different ways, and we're going to compare and contrast them and just talk about what they've been doing that's allowing them to be so successful.
I think you look at both of these teams, and what you think this year specifically is defense.
Yeah.
Both these defenses, you could argue, are the best two defenses in the league right now. The Patriots, I think a lot of people would say won, myself included. They're playing out of their minds right now. And you could look at the 49ers and put them at 2 as well. I mean,
I would do that.
This team struggled to get turnovers last year. Now, this year, we've been seeing from them is turnovers and big plays. So I think first thing you look at, as I said before, it's got to be the defense. That's the best part of both these teams.
Yeah, for sure. And on ESPN right now, I'm looking at the stats I haven't pulled up. These two teams are the two lowest in the league in yards per games allowed. So these guys are really playing lights out defense.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that these two teams are the best two teams. Defense wins championships. Maybe one of these two teams can win a championship. They're in the best place to do it right now. And I think we can look at why. First of all, I just want to look at the 49ers, which we're going to do right now.
Yeah.
Let's look at why this team is so much better this year than they were last year. Do you guys have any ideas as to that?
Oh, I have an idea.
I think we're
Yeah.
I think we know where you're going.
Well, you know the 49ers and the Cardinals, they play tomorrow as the time we're making this on Halloween
It'll
night.
be yesterday when you guys see this.
All right. So I hope that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan go down on the field before the game starts, go up to Cliff Kingsbury and personally thank him for passing on Nick Bosa, because you're right, Tyler, this defense is doing good, and Nick Bosa is a big reason why. And I don't know what the Cardinals didn't see, but anyway, we're talking about 49ers. They got this guy. He's a stud. He was a stud in college. He's producing at the NFL level. His game's translating really well, just like I thought it would. Because hey, I liked Nick Bosa before liking Nick Bosa was cool. Okay, I just want to make that clear.
I think everyone liked Nick Bosa.
Well, yeah, I had him
I think the thing was with the draft that a lot of people understood that Nick Bosa might have been the better player, but they also understood that Cliff Kingsbury and that staff really had their eyes on Kyler Murray. So I think a lot of people thought that maybe draft-wise they were saying that because they wanted to get their mock pick right. They maybe weren't going based off of just how it should go. They're basing off of how it would realistically go based on how what players these teams like and what from they've seen. But I understand that.
Yeah, that whole defensive front, really, it's not just Bosa, it's all those guys. They're putting pressure on the quarterback, making plays. You saw that Panthers game, not just Bosa, but all those guys, they're putting pressure on the quarterback, and they're making that impact that's allowing San Francisco to dominate games defensively.
Yeah, I mean, you look, we're going to go even deeper into this defense.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about, this could basically be the 49ers deep dive right now that we're doing. We'll do it for both teams, though. But we're going to take a look at this team, and this defense starts with this defensive line. We talked about Nick Bosa already. He's got 7 sacks already this year. But there's also DeForest Buckner, who's got 3. Eric Armstead, who's got 5.5. So, I mean, the production's coming from everywhere. D Ford has 4.5. A lot of guys making a big difference on the defensive line. And a big part of that defense is the defensive coordinator, Robert. I really have not. I mean, you've probably heard of him. You've seen videos of him getting hyped, but I've never really said his name before. Besides this, so this is the first time I'm really
take a stab at
saying his name. Robert Saleh.
I would say Salah. But
Salah. Do you know? You guys don't know?
No, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
We tried.
Robert.
Salah.
Whatever his last name.
Robert S.
Robert S. Sorry for. Oh, it says. There it is. It gives a pronunciation. Salah.
Told you.
Salah. What is it?
Salah? Maybe it's Salah.
It's S-A-H-L-U-H.
All right, let's not. We got a lot more to talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't have fun. Okay. Robert Salah. I would not say it anymore. He's had a pretty good year with this defense so far. He is one of the upcoming head coach candidates for next year, just based on what he's been able to do for this defense and the hype that he's able to bring to this team. I forgot which game it was, but he was getting really hype on the sideline when his defense did something. Do you remember what game who they were playing that week?
I know their defense did a lot of things in a lot of games, so I don't
It
know.
was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But There's like a picture of him. I'm not gonna do a reenaction because I don't want to look. I might just do it.
I think you should.
Oh, no.
I think you should do it.
Oh, boy.
And I did it, so I hope you like that. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, but he was getting hype on the sideline, so he's been a huge part of that. The team's really rallying around him, rallying around those veteran players, Richard Sherman, stuff like that. I think he's probably. I'm interested to know how much of a part he is of that defense. If he is a leader, really don't follow the 49ers very much, but it's interesting to see how much of a leader Richard Sherman is. And you guys talked about Bosa and all of them. So Robert Salah.
There you go.
Well, let's not forget this team does have an offense as well.
They do.
They're not just a defense. There are some players on offense that starts at the running back position. You got Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, and Raheem Mostert, who have all done amazing things this year.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go down this list. This is how many. They have 3 running backs on their team. This is how many yards each of them have. Matt Breida has 446. Tevin Coleman has 332, and Raheem Mostert has 309. If you have 3 running backs, it's absurd to think that they're getting this much numbers at this point in the season.
Yeah, three playmakers. They're all good at what they do. That's really a key part of their offense because they're able to use those guys in different ways. Because some days it's Tevin Coleman's day and he scores 4 touchdowns like he did in the Carolina game. Some days it's more Breida and or Mostert. So I think it's good that they have those guys that they could use, so they don't have to lean on one guy. So if one guy has an off day, down goes the entire offense.
And I'm a really big fan of this 49ers backfield. There are a lot of injuries that happen. Breida's always suffered through injuries. Mostert got injured last year. Tevin Coleman was injured this year, and he recently came back. I believe this was his second game back from injury. I could be wrong about that, but something close to that. But all 3 of these guys really have a lot of upside, and it's kind of like a 1-2-3 punch, I guess you could say. Some people, is usually the saying 1-2 punch, but it's so, those guys. And the thing about them too is they can run, but they also are great at receiving. And you could say that basically for all 3 of them. Tevin Coleman was able to do it on the Atlanta Falcons, and Breida and Mostert did it last year with the 49ers. So that's a huge plus, especially for a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, who, in my opinion, he is still struggling a little bit, but his team has been winning, so it's kind of been shut down a little bit. He's not like he's playing awful. If one of you guys want to pick up on that.
Yeah, he's not playing awful, but he's doing everything that his team needs him to do to keep him in games. And another thing that I think that San Francisco went out and did, and actually both of the undefeated teams in this video that we're going to talk about did this, and that is trade for a receiver just prior to the deadline.
Yep.
So I think the addition of Emmanuel Sanders from Denver was really to kind of help Jimmy Garoppolo continue to develop, because he has been developing. I think we could all agree on that to some extent. So I think the Emmanuel Sanders its addition, it's kind of like, because look, the strength of San Francisco's offense, as we talked about, is probably their running game and tight end George Kittle, but the receivers are not quite at the same level. So I think the Emmanuel Sanders, veteran guy, playoff experience, Super Bowl experience, and a guy that could really help Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think that was kind of I think if they had the same point you did, I think that's kind of why they traded for Sanders. Especially from a team like Denver who's starting to rebuild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Jordan said it. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing not bad, but he's playing okay. He can play a lot better. He's got 9 touchdowns on the year, 69.8 completion percentage, and almost half of 3,000 yards already on the season. So the stats are there.
Yeah.
A big part to that is, as I stumble over my words, a huge part to that is the receiver core.
Yeah. That receiving core, they've got some. It's maybe not the most known receiving core, but they've got some pretty fast guys in that receiving core. Ryan talked about they recently picked up Emmanuel Sanders, who
they didn't need to.
I mean, he's kind of a different guy than the other receivers
they
have.
Yeah.
So he's not as speedy as the other guys, but he's been in the league for a lot longer. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He could be someone that the team rallies around. So he's kind of a different player than maybe guys like Deebo Samuel, Dante Pettis, Marquise Goodwin. Those guys are, and Kendrick Bourne, who I don't know as much about, but those guys, they have a lot of speed, and that is with the staple of basically the wide receiving corps for the 49ers is the speed that they bring. Marquise Goodwin, he's extremely fast. I believe he ran his 40 at the combine very fast. Deebo Samuel is a fast rookie. Dante Pettis, he was with them last year. He's got some speed as well. I'm not going to
say everyone's got speed, but they do got a lot of speed. I'm not just gonna name everyone, but I definitely could. But they that is why I think that they brought in Emmanuel Sanders, just to be that kind of a different guy. So and then of course what Ryan talked about, the tight end. I said Travis Kelce, George Kittle.
That would
He hasn't had his greatest season stats wise, but he's been a huge leader on that team. I mean, you go on Instagram and you look at the NFL's thing or the check down or whatever you have. Shout out to them. But you'll see Travis Kelce just being a hype beast. You know, you'll see him on the sideline just making jokes, having fun. I said Travis Kelce, George Kittle. That's funny.
Oh, that's some meme material right there. Go rewind that and watch it. I'm sure it's funny.
Yeah, put in slow motion to Travis Kelce. Okay, George Kittle. Travis Kelce's a good leader too, but we're talking about George Kittle.
Talk about it for a while.
And at the check down.
All right. With that, I think it's time we move on to the new team, get a fresh start.
Yeah.
Let's start with this Patriots
Please.
defense as well, because their defense is playing even better than this 49ers
Hey, can I talk
defense.
about Gronk?
If you want to talk about his analyst skills, feel free.
Fox
Okay.
Sport, yeah.
All right. Well, as I said, let's talk about the defense. Should I go first? Do you guys want to give a little insight?
Can I jump in on this?
Jump on in.
All right. So
Dive on in.
I'll just start with we're talking about defense. So I'll start with the thing that changed this year with the defense is I believe that Bill Belichick has taken over the defense a lot more than he has last year. Of course, he still has his people helping him, but with Matt Patricia being sent. Oh, my computer just died. That's nice. I don't need it. I can go off my head. With Matt Patricia.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. With Matt.
Travis Kelce's coming back.
No, it's Gronk. With Matt Patricia being on the Lions now, and then recently their Miami's coach, I'm blanking on his name. Wish I had my
Brian Flores.
Thank you. I don't know why I was forgetting that. Sometimes I just.
It's okay.
Brian Flores recently being shipped away from them as well. Bill Belichick has stepped into a huge role for that defense, and that defense has played very well. Bill Belichick, although it might not seem like it, he's very motivating coach, and you might just look at him and say, oh, he's like the devil, but he's actually
Wow.
That's not what I'm saying. I love Bill Belichick, to be honest, but you might look at him, you might think, okay, maybe he's just kind of just there, he doesn't care, but he really cares about his players. You'll see him talking with his defense a lot. He'll just go and talk to a whole unit or whatever. So Bill Belichick is a huge part of why that defense is having success after he's taken it over.
Yeah, by the way, we did not mention Kyle Shanahan, so he's been doing a good job in San Francisco too. But let's keep it with the Patriots. Ryan, you have a nice stat on your screen.
Yeah, I do. And to say that the Patriots defense is good is an understatement.
Did you see how
Because
many touchdowns they scored?
yeah, because their turnover, the Patriots team turnover differential is plus 17, and that's first in the league. That's 7 more than the second place team, which is plus 10, being the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is crazy. This is historically good. On defense, they've got 19 picks and 6 fumbles. This is historically good, and this is only through half the year. Think of if they keep this up throughout the year, they could be coasting to the first overall seed in the AFC, although they still have some tough offensive games coming up later this month. But plus 17, and not only it's 7 more than the years. They're dominating the league defensively.
Yeah. Jordan talked about touchdowns. I'm looking at scoring for a section on stats. There's defensive players all over the place. Kyle Van Noy's on here. Let's keep going down below. Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, Stephon Gilmore, Chase Winovich, the rookie.
Wow.
He's even on there.
Everyone's in on the fun.
So there's been a lot of defensive touchdowns. It's been crazy in Foxborough with that defense. And it's not just touchdowns. They're doing it all over the place.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even without the touchdowns, they're getting picks, they're getting fumbles. Stephon Gilmore, Devin McCourty, both McCourty brothers playing great. And I could really name all that secondary. They're playing well. Basically every person on that team, honestly. They're playing very, very well. And a lot of those guys are becoming a lot more known names as the Patriots defense begins to get better. I think it was Devin McCourty who 2 or 3 weeks in, or whatever it was, he had 2 picks in every single game. So that defense has been balling.
Yeah, and just one more stat here, because this is too good not to add. They've only allowed 7.6 points per game.
It's crazy.
Like that's for like why does Tom Brady even need to suit up? Like seriously, like this is insane. Like they are literally winning games just with their defense.
Yeah.
It's incredible, but once again, there is an offense for this team.
Oh yeah.
An offense with the best player of all time on
Yep.
it. Thank you for that goat noise. Brady not having his best season. He's having a pretty good season.
Yeah.
He's one of the. He's in the top 10 conversation for MVP this year. That's a huge part of the defense because they're winning games still, 8-0 as they are. Why we're talking about them right now. He's already got 2,251 yards, 13 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. So he's looking good.
Yeah, and sometimes I watch him, and sometimes he does make a few more plays that are like not Tom Brady, like where he just misses a throw or misreads a defense. And again, he's human, and I know we're holding him to really high standards because he is Tom Brady. So I'm not trying to say he's not playing well. There's just a couple times where I say, does Tom Brady make that throw last year? Does Tom Brady throw that pick last year? Again, I'm not saying he's on the demise. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback. He's still a great quarterback. It's just something interesting that I've taken note of.
Yeah, I think that those things are happening, and I think that maybe he's not playing his greatest football. He's not in his prime, as I put it, but he's still a really good player. And we'll go to beyond Tom Brady to that whole team, the running backs, wide receivers.
Yeah, I can talk a little about the running backs here.
Yeah, I'll take wide receivers.
Okay, I'll talk about the running backs of the 49ers. How they have 3 running backs. It's the exact same thing in New England.
I feel like the Patriots have 8 running backs.
Yeah, they really
it
have
does,
a lot.
but they feature 3 mainly, that being Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and James White.
And James Devlin, who I think it's James, but
He's the fullback.
Injured right now.
Yeah.
He's the fullback.
I talk about the yards for the running backs for San Francisco as well. And this just goes to show how good those stats were, because even though they have 3 running backs, they have Sony Michel, who's their leading running back, 464 yards. That's good. Then you go down. Rex Burkhead's got 116 and James White has 66. So on the 49ers, you're talking 400, 300, 300. Now we're talking 400, 100, under 100.
The thing with them is the 49ers running backs, they're kind of used the same way I said it when I was talking about it before. They can all run and they could all be used in the catch game, but the receiving game. But the difference between them is the 49ers, they're all kind of the two-headed monsters, I guess you could say. But the thing is with New England, that the people that New England has, their players are very good at doing specific jobs. More likely, James White is a guy who's the pass-catching guy. He'll come in and get a lot of receptions, gets yards after a catch. Rex Burkhead, he's the guy who's just going to pound it. If they're on the goal line or something, he's a hard runner. And then Sony Michel, he's kind of like almost an every down back. He's kind of the guy, the workhorse on the team. So they all have different skill sets, and it's 2 kind of different running back committees, but also 2 very successful types of running back committees.
Yeah. Let's do one more thing and move on to the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Want to take that over, or should I talk about it?
I'll
go.
go. Well, I'll talk about their receivers because there is something interesting to talk about, because they've got Julian Edelman, probably one of the more.
Hall of Famer?
Well, he is one of the more clutch receivers I've ever seen. He's not going to put up big yards every game, but when
If we're talking Hall of Fame playoff players, if you're just giving it to people in the playoffs.
Super Bowl MVP last year.
Yeah, he's a guy. He just always seems to be there at the right time. Maybe not like 100 yards plus every game. Maybe he has some off weeks. Maybe he battles some injury. But when it matters most, I feel like he's always the guy that's there.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned how San Francisco traded for Emmanuel Sanders. New England traded with Atlanta for wide receiver Mohamed Sanu. What do you guys think about that trade?
I think that's a great trade. Julian Edelman was really the only one that was being heavily used.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Gordon was also on and off injured throughout this year.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good move to get.
now.
That was a good move to get Mohamed Sanu. That was in reaction to Josh Gordon. But one more thing that I feel needs to be mentioned: there's still one more receiver that has not played a snap for this team.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
That can make a huge impact, and that's a guy picked 32nd overall, the first round pick for the Patriots, N'Keal Harry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait till he gets back out there. He was like, I think we all were really high on him coming out of college. I thought that was a really good pick for the Patriots. They're good at this draft thing because that's how they've been contenders for longer than we've been alive.
Yeah, coming out of ASU, it'll be fun to see what he could do once he takes that field for the Patriots team that is already dominating.
Yeah. So We talked about the 49ers for a little bit. We talked about the Patriots for a little bit. I just want to ask you, how close do you think these two teams are to each other? Even though their records are both undefeated, how close do you think they actually are, and who's better?
I think, honestly, they're very even. We talked about we kind of put more stress on the defenses to start, talking about both teams, and I feel like both teams on the defensive side are very, very strong. If I were going to give the edge to one of them, I would give it to the Patriots just because the Patriots are more rounded overall, in my opinion, and Ryan seems to be shaking his head. And then if we go to the offensive side, I'd say it's almost it's really similar in my opinion. I might give the edge to the Patriots again too, but that's my opinion. You guys feel free to share.
Yo, I don't know what you saw, but I do think New England has the edge right now. I don't think it's by far. I just think with the experience. Well, you said I was like shaking my head.
Oh,
you thought I was
like this.
Oh, well, sorry if I said the wrong message, but I do think New England has the edge here, and I just think, one, the experience. I think the offense is a little better, and particularly this defense. You know, New England, they've got 19 interceptions on defense. Like, that's insane. I told you the turnover difference. Just things like that.
What are we going to, week 9?
Yeah.
19 interceptions.
That's crazy.
That's
like just those little
2 per
things.
week.
Yeah, like that's crazy. And then obviously the experience, the addition of Sanu, the running back core. San Francisco is not far behind, and I mean, it's really close. But I gotta give it to New England, and I feel like it'd be a really, really fun game watching these two if they were to go head to head. Although they don't play each other in the regular season. Although who knows? Maybe they'll play in Miami in February. Could happen.
We'll see a fun game though this week with the Patriots and the Ravens.
That will be a fun one.
Yeah. You guys basically said everything I would say. I would agree with you guys. Patriots do take the edge over the 49ers just by a little bit. Still think both these teams are very solid and deserve to be undefeated.
Yes.
So, that's going to conclude our video comparing both the undefeated teams right now. Who knows, in a couple of days, one of these teams could lose on Sunday.
Yeah.
But we'll see. For now, they're both undefeated.
Who are the 49ers playing this week? Arizona.
Yeah, on Thursday. So
Yeah. So, one of these teams could already be undefeated, which I really hope they win. Because then
wait, you mean?
Or sorry, could already have a loss.
Yeah.
So, please win, 49ers.
Yeah. Please.
Make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment your opinions down below. And we will see you guys later.
See ya.